Class, I am Miss Rachel P. Gusila from GH Baal Street of Josefina Extension Class, and I am your teacher for tonight's discussion. Class, please stand for a prayer. Please be seated, class.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Are you ready for tonight's discussion?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But before that, please say present if your name is called. Natalie Simpson,
Present.
Kishami Suarez,
Present.
Charlene Yuzon.
Present.
Very good for the perfect attendance. Class, please lend me your ear for my discussion. Later on, I will give you a short exercises. Okay, class?
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, our tonight discussion is all about exploring stylistic variation on Twitter. The case of DH1. If we say Twitter, class, it is an online microblogging service that distributes short messages, creating a dialogue of sorts and pushing the number of followers that give into a feed that millions of followers were to follow. Introduction. The study of linguistic variation has always been concerned with the social functions and lexical meanings of different ways of speaking by Labov 1972a, but the so-called third wave of variation studies by Eckert 2012 has placed processes of meaning construction at the forefront. This turn has also forefronted style, which has been described using styling, a verbal form, as a subjection of socially meaningful linguistic resources to active contextualization and recontextualization by language users by Copeland 2007a, 105, also Bowman and Briggs 1990. This work emphasizes how language users cobble together stylistic resources and how they achieve social effects in doing so. If we say social function, it defines as individual interaction with our environment and ability to fulfill the role within such environment. Third wave also often begins with styles seeking out what makes the distinctive and attempt to fill out the kinds of resources. And the lexical meaning is a word or expression whose meaning is dependent on the context. Stylistic variation wears many faces, but the approach advocated by the Mom-based Style Collective 2006 looks at style as socially meaningful aggregates of individual features. For example, received pronunciation RP, the Pittsburghese, Johnston 2009, or course Japanese Aga 2007. Recurrent socially circulating aggregates of covering forms can be called enregistered style, inasmuch as they have been widely understood by some set of evaluators to make up such meaningful sets of lexical forms. These circulating styles are relatively abstract cultural objects. They have been described as repertoires by Copeland 1918, from which language users may select ways of using or interpreting concrete language in their everyday lives. Varieties of language found on the internet have often been described as repertoires or registers by Squares 2010, and the stylized distinctiveness of language and computer-mediated communication. Some primarily computer-mediated stylistic repertoires even require the status of name registers like LostSpeak or Internet Language. Of course, The internet is also home to stylistic variation that throws on resources available outside computer-mediated context. This chapter examines Twitter-mediated uses of forms that can be associated with African American vernacular in English or Arabic, casual and non-standard registers of spoken English across many dialects and other spoken and written varieties of English. DH tapping is a well-studied variable process whereby voice entered into fricatives T or realized as voice overall stops T or dental stops T above 2006. It is a feature of multiple varieties of English, including various African American and white ethnic varieties of American English, Barros 2006, Du Bois and Horvath 1998, and certain non-standard varieties of British English, as well as some Englishes from other parts of the world, including Yoruba and Igbo associated forms of Nigerian English by Olahide and Olaniye 2014, Got 2008. It has been called a partition and a hyperarticulation occurred 2008 for 71 in reference to its auditory prominence relative to T and its idealization as a less effortful form. The data and methods. I use a program called the Archivist. The Archivist version announced 2014 to retrieve publicly available tweets by keyword search. I search for tweets containing the keyword they, that, and this, as well as the, that, and this. The non-standard spelling reflects a stop realization of an unset which is a fricative in the standard form. I selected these words to be as semantically and pragmatically neutral as possible so that their contribution to the corpus would be in the relation of th become the alone. A certain number of tweets were returned in Dutch, where that is a determiner, and French, where this is the first and second person singular indicative present of the dire to see. The language model scored each trigram present in the tweet with its frequency in the three candidate language and classified it as belonging to the highest scoring candidate language by Kawar 2004b. First is the other DH tapping, that is DH tapping not accounted for by the search keyword used to retrieve the tweet. This included further instances of this, that, and the, above and beyond the first instances of the applicable search keyword. The definite articles spelled as the or the in addition to them, this, and other rare examples. Second is the arlessness. Forms were considered arless if I recognized their standard orthographic form. The word denoted by the standard orthographic form has a coda R, and the form present in the tweet lacked indication of that coda R. Third is the Internet Initialisms OMG. This feature refers to a set of acronyms commonly associated with Internet and SMS communication after initial expiration of the data. This factor was coded automatically by a regular expression search. That was all my discussion, and once again, thank you and good evening.